It's something about Palace, the size of it. It's just cozy. The colours. I never knew such a world existed. I just had no idea. It was just beautiful. And I said, I want to go back. Look at all these films. If I had the money, I would have them developed. I don't know what's in here. All exposed.
Would that be sport stuff?
Yeah, probably. But look at it, hundreds of them. Sometimes I'd start a film, then I'd come home. This is black and white. Look, I've written here whatever number's left. You know, it's just horrible. I didn't earn much money out of photography, you know. But it's never ever been about money. My name is money, but it's never been about money. I am not interested. All it's been is get there, capture it and share it. I was born in Bangalore. At the age of 8, I was sent away to boarding school, this exclusive school on top of a mountain. It was originally built for children of the British Raj, of the military. We were taught rifle shooting. We were proper little soldiers, cocooned, only going home a total of 6 weeks in the year. And that was my childhood. This is the original box brownie camera. My mother gave me when she saw me off on the ship in Bombay Harbour to come to start a new life in England. And I'd just come out of boarding school. And she said to me, when you get settled in England, would you take this camera and send me photographs of Buckingham Palace? Because she was a great admirer of the royal family. And I ended up at Crystal Palace instead of Buckingham Palace. So this is my very first camera I've ever used. I'm married and I had the children. They would all play in the back garden and they were kicking the ball around playing football. And I spent so much time photographing them. So my husband bought me this camera, the Rolleiflex. It's been nibbled by mice since. And this is the camera that I had when I went to Crystal Palace for the first time. And then I was asked by Martin, you know, what would you like for your birthday? And he said, I want to go to the palace. And I said, why do you want to go to the palace? You can't be sure the Queen's going to be there. And he goes, not that palace, silly, it's the name of a football club. Being married to somebody who was just football off every midweek, weekends, football. Left me with the children, so I thought, well, I don't like football. But I never realised when I eventually had to go to the match what a magical world it was. It was like a new world had opened up to me. It was just people and families and colour and joy, the smell of hot dogs, the people selling scarves and souvenirs. It was like I'd gone into this magical world I didn't even know existed. And I watched all this action going on the pitch. And it was so beautiful. It was like ballet. And my eyes were clicking at certain times when the goalkeeper went up to pick up the ball and he's surrounded by it and he just rose above it. And in my head I was going click, click, click. It was beautiful. But in that magical moment you click and then you've got it there. You've got here the goalkeeper flying through the air. Just like my boys were doing in the back garden. And I said, right, I'm coming back here again and all these people are sitting in front of me and getting in my way. I could see people sitting at the side. I want to know how you can get to sit over there. So I got the number of the club and I kept ringing them. And I said, I want to speak to somebody. I want to sit close to the action. And they said, what's your name? I said, Hi Money. There was a pause. And then I kept ringing and they wouldn't answer. So I said, I know where Crystal Palace, I can find my way back there. So I went knocking on the door. And I went there and this receptionist, can I help you? And I said, I keep phoning, but nobody's calling me back. I want to know how I could sit closer to the action so that people don't get in my way. And so she picks up the phone. I could still see it. She goes, you know that woman with a funny name who keeps phoning? She's here in person. And then she put the phone down and she goes, he said, send her up. And I said, up where? He goes, up the stairs there. I said, oh, good, thank you. And I went upstairs and there was Bert Head. I didn't know who he was, but he was the manager. He was sitting on the top step eating a bowl of soup. So I said, oh, could I take your photo? Click. I've still got the photograph. Then he gets up and he said, so, are you a photographer? I said, I like taking photographs. Are you press? I said, no. Who do you work for? I said, I don't work for anyone. And I said, but I really, really want to get close to the action. And he must have been in a funny mood because he pressed a buzzer and this guy comes in and he says, for God's sake, give this woman a pass and get rid of her. I said, thank you, thank you. And so he gave me the pass. They said, you've got to go to the press room, and I showed my card. Went up to the press, it was full of men. And they said, hello, 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 look what's just walked in. And I was not expecting to be treated so badly. They would say, what you got in your bag, darling? Brought your knitting with you? Brought your crochet? And I'm thinking, why are they so rude? And then one of them walked up and he knocked me over. And he said, sorry, sir, never noticed you standing there. And I thought, why are you always being so nasty? I had no idea. I was so, would you say naive or innocent or childlike in my enthusiasm and my joy of knowing that I could just go and sit there. When Malcolm Allison came to the club, I have never seen such excitement. I said, could I come and take a photograph of you with your fedora in your office rather than on the pitch? And I said, do you mind putting your hat on? And he said, fine. And I said, could you light up a cigar? He said, fine. I said, oh, good. I said, could you put your feet up on the desk? I just thought it would make such a good photo, and it did. And I thought, nobody else has got this. This is how I always try to think. I've got to get pictures that nobody else would want to do. And I've got to use my own imagination to make it special. I didn't know I was being a pioneer because I didn't watch football, I didn't read about football, I didn't know the background of it. There was no women's toilets, for instance. For years, somebody once said to me, oh, you always turn up late during half time, you want to show off walking down. I said, no, what you don't know is there's no toilets for ladies, women's toilets. I'd have to wait till all the men have left and then quickly nip into the toilet at half time so I could get back onto the pitch again.
What's the story about Fiona Richmond?
So I followed the Rolls Royce training ground and she gets out and the player's already there training with Malcolm Allison. And then she takes the top off and I'm thinking, what? I was the only photographer there. And then the goalkeeper's lying on the ground and she's straddling him. I just couldn't, and I was doing click, photographing, well, whatever.
What was the best atmosphere at a game that you've been
definitely
to?
Burnley. I have never seen anything like it in all the years. The crowds, they just like a tidal wave of human beings. So I ran up, got in the director's box and took this photograph of all the people, goal to goal, and they were like, God is up there. There's like to Terry Venables, there's like God himself had appeared. The atmosphere was absolutely fantastic. So when I was starting to earn money then, I decided I needed to look like the guys and buy my proper Nikon. I mean, I don't know how I carried this today, it's just so heavy. And this is a flash. And so this is the biggest lens that I had, because the others, to this day, I don't have big lenses, but just the weight of this, I don't know how I walked around. This is my life story in cameras. Then I went digital eventually. And these are my lenses. My first trip to Wembley, I bought 3 tickets for my 3 sons. Kenny Sansom was playing, and he played for Palace, so therefore I had to follow it up for the local papers and everything. So I applied for a pass and I got it. I showed my pass and this man said, over my dead body, mate. Over my dead body. And he said, blimey, it's a bird. Is there no way you women don't want to stick your noses in? And I said, let me in. This is my photographer's pass. And he, like, back and forwards on his feet, hand behind, nope, over my dead body, mate. And the photographers who knew me, because they've sat beside me, they were walking past and I was pleading with my eyes. I didn't want to verbally say, help me out here, because I knew they wouldn't. But I was pleading, like, tell him I'm a photographer. And they just walked past like this. So that made it twice as bad. And he said, no way you're entering this, the hallowed, sacred turf of Wembley. And I just had to sit outside for the 90 minutes and wait for my children to come back. I was crying. Years later, I was at the Wimbledon, and the first woman photographer there as well. The press saw me, they said, look who's turned up. And I walked into the press room, and there was the gang, the Fleet Street mob as I call them, and they were playing cards because it was raining. And I walked into the press room, I was so nervous, my first time at Wimbledon. They said if she as much as sets foot in the centre court, we'll stage a mass walkout. So do you know what, I couldn't stake it, I just went. I left the press room, I was shaking. And then as I'm walking by, I looked up amongst all the ivy, and there was a window, and there was Sue Barker looking out of the window. And I pointed my camera at her, and she just smiled and waved at me. And I got my one picture, and I drove to Fleet Street, and it was in the Evening Standard, was all that lot of playing cards, rubbishing me. But I did, years and years and years, did Wimbledon. They couldn't stop me. Here we go.
Whoa.
This is the day Ron Nodes had just signed the contract to say he's bought Crystal Palace Football Club. So just photographed in that split moment. Look at how happy he looks. Ron Nodes changed everything when Ron Nodes came to the club for me, because he had a wife and he had young children. And I remember his daughter saying, I want to be a photographer when I grow up. I want to be like Hi. He went and bought it for his daughter, made a darkroom for her, and to this day she is a photographer. Terry Venable's daughter said the same thing. Can I sit on the pitch with you, because I want to be like Hi when I grow up. Oh, these are some memories of
Righty.
Righty and Variety.
Were they good to photograph?
They were wonderful, yes. I'm still friends. Elton John came to Selhurst Park, and he's wearing this, support women's football. How about that? And could you pass that one here? This is Martin. It was him that said, can we go to Palace for my birthday? And that's Martin here with Alan Burchell and his birthday tree too.
What's going on there?
Well, when I photographed these three gentlemen in the bath, they were actually sitting down. They were up to here in water and sharing champagne amongst themselves. And I never asked them to stand up. I wanted on record. They decided to, let's stand up and go way like this. And then I don't know how, because I had to, it wasn't autofocus, I had to actually focus it. But my glasses were so steamed up. I'd have to do this. The interesting thing is, I wondered how they got on tiers because I was in the front. So I said, I'd go around the back to see, are there benches, are they standing on, why would I even want to know that? But I did. I didn't even notice till I came home and had it developed. I said, I hadn't even noticed. So if he wanted to shock me, it just didn't at the time, because I had no idea till I saw the photo. That got published in lots of papers.
They're a lovely bunch of guys, those, aren't they?
They're so lovely. The players have always been so nice to me. It's like I'm their little mascot, little tiny mascot. I have never had any problems with the players. They've been so kind, so nice. They signed a petition, 40 of them signed a petition to stop my entry into the union. I said, but I've qualified in every way. I've got the letters still. They said, you are taking men's work away from them. So I had to employ a solicitor, which cost me a lot of money, to say, look, fight my case. And they eventually said, well done, you're the first female sports photographer to be accepted in the NUJ. Why was it a battle all the time? Drummed into you from day one, the school motto, never give in. We had to sing the song every time we went to assembly, and we had to end up, and the motto is never give in. raise our voices. So that's stuck with me all my life. Just never give in. If you think you're in the right, I can't very well say I demand this, I demand that, if I have no right to demand it. So therefore, that, my school badge, which is here, which I still have, and I treasure it, because I don't think I could have survived what I've been through had I had a privileged life. I mean privileged in the sense of family and cocooned and safe. I don't think I could have faced what I had to face to become a sports photographer. I have done all that because I've got the steel in me to say, come on, never give in. And I want women who are going to be faced and have been all these decades, centuries even, to say to the women out there, if you believe in what you do and you have the right to do it, so whoever, young girls out there, follow your dreams. Just know in your heart that you've got the right. If you feel you have the right and you're gifted and you want to go somewhere and do something, do not let the fact that you're female stop you. Those days have gone.